Bonsoir class. Okay, so this is just my fun bag that I wanted to use. And so my insights are on the outside. So my first one is students don't get me, they make it. Definitely with learning a language, you can't force them to understand. They have to learn it on their own. Second one is brevity is authority. Definitely with using power teaching, it's like the micro lecture, give them a little bit of information, and that goes a long way. And definitely with language, I can't overwhelm them with all this new vocabulary because they won't understand anything. The third, it doesn't matter what is real, but when perceived to be real, as Ryan said earlier. To me, that focuses more on administration, is that you feel like you're doing a good job, but they might not, so you have to work with what they want you to do or change. The third one is the Sternberg's triartic theory of intelligence. Gets the students to be analytical, creative, and practical, which makes them motivated to learn because they understand why they are learning what they're learning and doing. Having reason, kind of with the other presentations I've done, is that the importance of French, that French is used in the world. It is an international language in the United Nations, and you have to know French to work for the United Nations. So it isn't a dying language, it is used, and the importance of certain vocabulary and where you can use it, getting them to know those kind of things. The 3 R's, the rigor, relevance, and relationships. That's just important for education and knowing it. Art is one of the best tools for educational development. Art is just fun, it's creative, it gets you engaged. Having them draw a human being and then have them draw, okay, this is a hand, la main, la tête, la bouche, to learn the parts of the body and then getting to draw it. So then that just is another way of reinforcing the vocabulary. And finally, keep the mystery alive. Having that fun, the interest, just doing things different. Don't always do the exact same thing over and over. So those are my 7. Okay, so the first one is the use of just books in general. So La Petite Prince, which everyone knows. I mean, it's actually written in every single language in the world, supposedly. So it's a little print. Probably most of you have read it maybe a long, long time ago. But it's my favorite book and the first book I ever read in French. And then this one is a bilingual book. And you can tell it's a good night. And so this little girl who says goodbye to all her stuffed animals, and then they can learn animal vocabulary and know what it is because they see the visual. So that's always fun. The acrostic. This is the one that I learned in my freshman high school class, so it's Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp. And in past tense in French, there's, I think it's the same in Spanish, that there's 2 ways. So there's the to be or to have, and you have to have that verb before the past tense. It's really hard to explain if you don't know French, but if you understand a little bit of Spanish, I believe it's the same. So that's the how to know. And then this is another thing to reinforce. I know it's kind of small. The art is to kind of have that motion. So it's a little man of what he's doing. So it's like to born, to go, to mount, or to kind of like to go upstairs is how you say it. To enter and to leave. So it has that visual to help them understand the verb, and then to help remember Dr. Mr. Vandertramp. Here's the collage. So here, I know we talked about it one time of doing like nouns or adjectives. So this is a collage of all the adjectives in French. So you know the difference of adjectives and adverbs. It's the same thing in French and English, but these are ideas to maybe, if they have one of each part of speech, they can use it to write a story or something. So that's just fun. Here we did it in this class of how the expressions, so sad, happy, but then knowing them in French, so triste, heureuse, contente, inquiète, so they have that visual, and that's fun. These ones, the faces are kind of hard to understand, but it's still fun. This was the home court. I'm going to have my students up and about all the time, asking people from across the room a certain question or moving around. So I want them to have kind of a motion or a word through the chez vous, which is just kind of like your home. It's not home court because they don't understand that. At least in French that doesn't make sense. So that they know, okay, it's time to go back to their seat. Then the Post-its. So I brought 2 different sizes, so you can ask for just one vocabulary word. So just say, okay, name an adjective. They put it on there. And then you see what adjectives they do, most of the students know or don't know, things like that. Just an awesome. And then also as like they can, before they leave, have comments, things like that. And then also, Brian did it, was the smell. And I really, really like that. And this scent actually is Mediterranean fig. So they feel like they're in France. And so they kind of, creates an atmosphere that you're more calm, but then you also remember those things because smell is the strongest, creates the strongest. And the figs in the Mediterranean are amazing. There's lots of them. So those are all of mine. Thank you.
I'm sure you're going to be last, and I'm going to have closed, and we'll have 3 presenters next week, and that would be Horn, Nick, and Robert, if I'm not mistaken. So this will work for us.
I'm not hurt. In case you're collecting.
No. Okay, we're not distributing at the moment. We want to give our peers our inspect attention, please.
You just sounded like a tigger. Right.
Then you're gonna get
You ready?